Hello my lovely, and welcome to today's video where we will talk about 5 habits that you can cultivate to create more happiness and more joy in your life. If you're ready, let's get into it. So why happiness? Why spend a whole video talking about happiness? Because I think it's normal as humans that we want to be happier. And we have a lot of questions around this elusive concept of happiness. What does it mean? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And more importantly, what does it look like in our day-to-day lives? And I think that we all experience happiness and joy very differently. But as a society, we all are looking for happiness in the wrong things. And I think if we take a step back and try to cultivate happiness from a different angle, from a deeper and more meaningful place, then we can create happiness in a more long-lasting way. So what is happiness and how can you be happier? If you take a moment to think about happiness, it's simply an emotion and simply a feeling. So when you buy something new, you feel happy in that moment. Why? It's not necessarily because of the thing itself that you're buying. Yes, it does bring you momentary joy, but it's a feeling that you get when you bought that new thing. It's feeling empowered that you can get something new. It's feeling confident that you had the money and you were able to go out and get something that brings you joy. It's not necessarily the thing itself. So happiness is really an emotion that we're looking to create. And from that angle, if you think about it, that means that you can cultivate more of that emotion without the thing itself, because feelings are internal. It's something within you that you can create more of and nurture and cultivate on a daily basis, which is why our habits are so important, because our habits are the foundation of our lives. The quality of our habits will determine the quality of our lives. So if we want to create more happiness, then if we have habits that cultivate happiness, then what will happen? We will feel happier. And if you still struggle with understanding what makes you happy and why maybe you're unhappy today, it's okay. What I want you to focus on in this video is that you can cultivate happiness with small steps, with day-to-day things that you can do with your habits and your routines, and that with time, you will gain a better understanding of what makes you happy inherently at a deeper and more meaningful level. And throughout this video, I want you to pinpoint things that you can change in your day-to-day life, in your habits and your routines. That way you can create more happiness. And with time, when you have a stronger foundation with your habits, you will have a bit more mental and emotional space to actually be able to sit down and reflect and understand what happiness means to you, to define it more concretely. Because when you have a clear vision of something that you want to create, when you have a better understanding of what you want in your life, it will become easier to create. So the first step, we will work on the habits that you have to build to be happier, and then with time you'll be able to create and cultivate more happiness in your life and to have a better understanding and a better grasp of what it means to you. That way you can define it and cultivate it even more. So the first habit that I want you to cultivate to create more happiness in your life is mindfulness. And I know that's a topic that's talked about a lot nowadays, but I want to keep it very simple. Mindfulness is simply being aware of the present moment of right now, being aware of how you're feeling in your body, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of what's going on outside. Is the sun shining? Is it raining? Are there flowers around you? What can you smell? It's being really present in the moment. And that cultivates happiness, because when you realize that all you have is this moment right now, you will realize that you don't have to get caught up in emotions and thoughts and anger from your past experiences. And you'll realize that you don't have to worry and overthink the future. Yes, you can plan a little bit for it. We all know that I love planning. But when you bring yourself back in the moment, when you realize that all you have is this moment right now, you will create a sense of peace, a sense of inner peace, and a deeper sense of happiness, because you will realize that all that matters is this moment right now. The past will not define the future, and you cannot predict the future. So why bother worrying with any of those? Okay, so now let's get into the tangible. What can you do on a day-to-day basis to practice more mindfulness? These are small, intentional practices that you have to be doing on a daily and consistent basis. I'm talking about breath work, breathing deeply to bring yourself back in the moment, to bring yourself back into your body instead of going into your thoughts. It's things like meditating. I know you've heard it over and over again, but it really does work. If you don't know how to meditate, start with yoga. That helps as well, because you're going into your body and you're focusing on how you're feeling and your movements and the breath work. So it brings everything together. It's doing intentional practices, like if you're doing the dishes or you're doing chores around the house, Instead of being in your thoughts or being distracted with something, just come back to the moment and just be with yourself and focus on the task at hand. It's with these small things that you have to be doing intentionally on a consistent basis to bring yourself back in the moment, to be aware of what you're doing in that moment, to practice with your mind and to realize that all you have is this moment right now. It's something that you have to get used to and you have to constantly be doing, but it's with small little changes that you can create more mindfulness to ultimately create more happiness in your life. The second habit that you can cultivate to create more happiness in your life is related to number one, but I wanted to have a different section for it because it's something that I have been a lot more aware of lately and that has brought me a lot of joy, and that's spending more time in nature. As you can see behind me, I have a lot of plant babies, and that's a new hobby that I have and a new habit that I'm trying to create, because if we're talking about happiness at a deeper level and a more meaningful level, and we're talking about mindfulness and being more aware of your surroundings, then being in nature offers that. When you're in nature, when you're cultivating and growing a plant, when you're outside and enjoying the sun, when you're looking at flowers, or you're going for a walk in nature, what this does is that it brings you out of your head. It brings you into the present moment and makes you aware that, you know what? Yes, maybe your life does have challenges, not to minimize that, but your problems are small in the grand scheme of things. There is a bigger picture. There is so much out there that sometimes we tend to focus on narrow and zero in on the little things. But if you take a step back and realize how much beauty there is around us through nature, then you realize that happiness is within reach. It's right there. It's all around us. But we tend to not see it. We tend to forget it because it's normal. We get caught up in the day-to-day. We get caught up in the negative emotions. We get caught up in the challenges. And I know I'm guilty of that as well. But through practice like being in nature or having plants in your house that you can grow and nurture, this reminds you to come back to the present moment. It reminds you that there's a bigger picture, and it reminds you that all you have is now, and all you need to focus on is those small moments that actually will nurture you and will make you inherently feel a lot better, more at peace, and happier. The third habit that will help you cultivate more happiness in your life is to create habits and routines that will make you feel better. I'm talking about physical and emotional self-care so that you feel well. That way you're taking care of your health from the inside out and from the outwards in. They're all interconnected. So when we're talking about habits and routines, we're talking about physical self-care, we're talking about emotional self-care, and we're talking about spiritual self-care as well. They're all interconnected. You are a human and everything is connected. Your emotions, your body, your soul, if you believe in that, everything is connected. So if you want to create more happiness, that means that you have to feel well. You have to have the emotional and physical energy to be able to enjoy life, as basic as that. So if you don't feel well in your body, if you don't feel well in your mind, if you don't feel well in your heart, how do you think you'll be able to enjoy anything in life? When you feel stressed out and you're just in your thoughts and you're feeling anxious, how do you think your day-to-day goes? Are you able to be present with your family? Are you able to be present with your friends and laugh with them? Are you able to enjoy nature and go outside? No, when you don't have the physical and emotional energy, this will affect your levels of happiness. And that's why it's important to create habits and routines to take care of yourself, to take care of your body and of your mind as well. So focus on creating routines on a daily and weekly basis. And I'm talking about things like exercising. I'm talking about things like eating well. I'm talking about things like journaling, meditating, doing yoga, practicing mindfulness, like I mentioned in the first habit, doing things that make you feel better, having a hobby, doing something that feeds your heart, that makes you feel happy, being more intentional with your time, spending time with people that you care about, connecting with others, going out and volunteering and helping the community. Those are the little things that add up and ultimately will make you feel better. But you have to make sure that you are intentional and that you actually sit down and think about those habits and routines that you want to create in your life that will ultimately make you feel better on a consistent basis. Because when you feel better, you will feel happier and you will be able to enjoy life. Because if you can't enjoy life, you can't be happy. The fourth habit that I want you to cultivate, and this is an important one and I think that we underestimate a lot, is to do acts of kindness on a daily basis. Now, keep in mind that when I talk about acts of kindness, it does not have to be anything very elaborate. It doesn't mean like you have to give money all the time to different charities. It doesn't have to be something crazy. I'm talking about small, intentional acts of kindness. Keeping a door open for someone, smiling at a stranger, offering a helping hand to someone, or if you have a friend who you know is going through a hard time, giving them a call and checking up on them. Studies have shown that when you try to help others, you will feel happier. Why? Because you're stepping out of yourself. You're stepping out of your head. You're stepping out of your life. You're stepping out of your life challenges, and you're putting your energy and your focus towards something else, which in turn will come back to you in a positive way and will make you feel better as well. Now, not to say that you should do something just so that you feel better. No, the intention should be to try and help someone else and be there for someone else and actually offer kindness towards someone else. However, in the end, you will benefit from it. So I want you to become more mindful about the day-to-day things that you can do to practice more kindness for yourself, but also for the people around you, friends, colleagues, family, even strangers around you. I want you to be aware of the small things that you can be doing to spread positivity, spread joy, and spread happiness, because ultimately it will come back to you and you will feel happier at a deeper and more meaningful level. Trust me, try it out. One act of kindness a day and you will see it will make a big difference. So the fifth and final habit that I want you to cultivate, and this is also an important one. Well, they're all important, but this one is actually probably the easiest that you can do. Well, they actually all are. But let's just get to it. The fifth habit that I want you to cultivate to create more happiness in your life is to practice daily gratitude. Why does this help with happiness, and why should you do it? Because if you want to be happy, then you have to be grateful for what you have. And taking the time to actually sit down, reflect, think about, and actually feel gratitude for what you already have, then you will cultivate even more happiness, because you will realize what you already have. You will realize and bring awareness to all the blessings that you already have in your life. So how do you do this? It's simple. Every morning, this is what I do. Every single morning, I sit down and I write in my journal 3 things I'm grateful for, but also why I'm grateful for it. And you don't have to do this in a journal if you're not into journaling yet, because I want to convert you, but you can even do it in your head. And it's something that you have to cultivate on a regular basis. I want you to bring awareness throughout your day for the small things that you might take for granted that you're actually grateful for. For example, I grew up in Africa and we did not have running water and we did not have clean water. I try to be very mindful and so grateful to be able to go to the kitchen, pour myself a clean glass of water and be able to drink it whenever I want. I can take a shower and be clean and just feel better in an instant. Whereas there's so many people around the world that don't have access to water. Those are the small things that we take for granted. And if you take a step back and try to pinpoint the things that you're grateful for that you might be taking for granted, you will realize how blessed you are. Think about it. The fact that you're sitting there right now watching this video, watching me, means that you have internet, you have electricity, you have some kind of device, whether it's a phone, a laptop, a tablet, or whatever. It means that you have access already to all these resources to be able to watch this. It means that you can understand. That means that you're able to comprehend what I'm telling you, hopefully. But even just that, did you ever think about being grateful for that? It seems so basic. It seems so it's so mundane for us because it's in our day-to-day and we don't realize it, but we have so many things already in our lives. And if we take a step back and try to think about those things and be grateful for them, not only will we be more mindful of our blessings, we will also be more mindful of the present moment of what we have around us and the blessings that we have and things that we're grateful for that make us happy. But we will also cultivate more abundance. We will cultivate more joy. We will cultivate sense of ease that, you know what, I already have everything that I want, and it's okay to want more, because I also have goals and I also want to accomplish more and create more in my life, but I still am happy inherently right now with everything that I have. And if you're happy with what you already have, if you're grateful for what you have, that you're not caught up in the past and you're not caught up in worrying about the future, you're just happy now, because as I've said before in this video, all we have is this moment right now. And happiness, if you haven't noticed a trend in all these habits, it's about mindfulness. It's about awareness. It's about coming back to this moment right now, to be aware that you have control over how you're feeling, you have control over your surroundings, and you have control over your own happiness. So I want you to take charge and to actually cultivate happiness at a deeper, more meaningful level, so you're not constantly looking for happiness in the wrong things. That way you're aware that happiness is already within you. You can be happy already now. And I know that's something I'm trying to constantly cultivate, because even I get caught up in the day-to-day, in the worries and about the future, and getting caught up in emotions from the past. I am guilty of that as well. But when you cultivate these foundational habits that I talked about in this video, when you actually take the time to cultivate these things and you practice them on a consistent basis, it does become easier with time. And in moments when you feel lower, you have a toolbox, you have things that you can use, you have things at your disposal to reach into and to make yourself feel better. I felt not so great a few days ago, and what did I do? I have a habit of meditation and yoga. I rolled out my mat and I did yoga, and I felt instantly better. I was able to bring myself back in the moment, get myself out of my head, and feel better and feel happier, to remind myself that I'm worrying about the future and I don't have control over it. So that's what I want you to do. To summarize, is to practice more gratitude, to be grateful for what you already have, and to feel it at a deeper level. Not just to say, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. No. Why are you grateful for it? I'm grateful to have running water because I can go drink and cook and take a shower whenever I want, without the worry of getting sick, and without feeling dehydrated, without having to go walk for 1 hour to a well to get water. That's why I'm grateful for water. So I want you to think about it from a deeper level, to cultivate more happiness and more gratitude in your life. So those were the 5 habits that you can cultivate to create more happiness in your life. And now it's your turn. I want you to take action and to practice what you just learned. I want you to take one of these habits that I mentioned in this video and to practice it for at least 1 week, if not longer, and to see how you feel. Practice it on a consistent basis and be very intentional with it. If a tip is to actually write it out on a post-it and stick it everywhere. Stick it on your mirror, stick it on your night table, on your fridge. Set a reminder. If, for example, you want to practice more gratitude, then write gratitude practice and put it in different places to have a visual cue to remember that you want to be more grateful in your life. Or you can pick up the practice of journaling, which is something that I do every single day and that has helped me create and cultivate more happiness in my life. Now, if you're not into journaling, that's okay. I have 20 journal prompts to cultivate happiness for you. If you want to get started on your journaling journey, that's a mouthful. But if you want to get these free journal prompts, then check the link in the description box. You will be able to access them. They're absolutely free. And this is a great way to dabble into journaling if you've been wanting to, because I know it can be a little bit overwhelming, but it's actually a wonderful habit to cultivate. And it's a lot easier than you think. And a great way to start is with journal prompts. So if you want to access those free journal prompts, then check the link in the description box. And if you want to learn more about happiness, which is something that I would encourage you to do as well, now that hopefully you're getting a little bit inspired and a little bit motivated and empowered to learn more about it and to cultivate it in your life, then I also have a podcast episode where I talk about 4 reasons why you might not be happy. And if you're still struggling to define happiness for you, that's okay, that's normal, but hopefully I planted the seed for you to start thinking about what happiness means to you. And the podcast episode is great because I reverse engineered it. If you don't understand what happiness means to you, then instead let's take a different perspective and understand what unhappiness means and reasons why you might not be happy. And that might help you understand, okay, if these are the reasons why I'm not happy, then then this makes me happy instead. So go check out that podcast episode. I will leave the link in the description box as well. That is all I had for you in this video. Leave a comment below and tell me one thing that you're happy about in your life right now and that you're grateful for, so that we can spread more joy and more positivity in the interwebs. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.